Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
My guest today is Matt Chenard, and he is from Alberta, Canada. And he is very much aligned with what we talk about here on Kill Complacency. He is CEO of Greater Purpose Health and Fitness, does ice baths. It's, would you say 37 below up there today, Fahrenheit?
This Friday will be with wind chill, minus 37 Fahrenheit.
And Matt is doing those outside to earn his dopamine. So
yes.
Matt, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, like you mentioned, I'm from Alberta, grew up Canada, grew up playing hockey as everyone does from a young age here. And I own a gym. We opened that in 2012. And my main focus right now is what I call man on a mission, helping Christian entrepreneurial men become more disciplined, live with more purpose so that they can become heroes in their home, get in great physical shape, scale their business, all as a byproduct of being more consistent and disciplined. So that's a big focus of mine right now. And I'm excited to have a conversation today.
Matt, you mentioned hockey and you said it's what everybody does up there. Now, in reading about you, that ended for you with too many concussions, correct?
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about that because I think this is relevant to your coaching and what you do because it's an identity thing, right? So I want to ask, what part of your identity died when you had to give up the hockey? And how did you... Yeah.
Really good question. When I'm coaching men, I have what I call a Mission 5 framework. So at the base of this framework, to become consistent and disciplined, regardless of your circumstances, is identity. Then it's purpose, then it's goals, then it's routine, then it's habits. And for myself and others in hockey, it doesn't matter if it's hockey or athletics in general, or if it's a relationship or it's a career, it's a business. It can be a very dangerous thing to attach your identity or worth to that. I would say for myself, there was a piece of that. There was a piece of, hey, I grew up playing this sport for 16 years and now it's gone. Who am I? It didn't last too long for me. I would say I'm more of a philosophical person who likes to think bigger things, and I would analyze that in myself. But I could see from a distance, I'm not saying, that doesn't mean I'm saying I'm perfect or I've never been vulnerable to that, but I would much more likely observe others going through that. And what I would see is that, hey, once they're done playing hockey, their sport, they don't know how to switch it off and they don't know how to find their significance and value in the creator, in the one who made them. They try to find it in other things, right? They try to find solace, identity, security, hope, trust in things of this world, in relationships or in substances or in addiction to even good things. Part of our story, my wife's story, she had an eating disorder, exercise addiction early on in her marriage. That would have been an identity piece too, right? Determination, trying to find significance, value in this thing. And I would have had some addiction to exercising as well early on. And it's trying to find something in God's creation that we can only truly find in Him.
I think that's good. And do you think were you always a believer?
Yes. Yeah.
So do you think that your identity was short-lived with switching from hockey to what was next because your identity was grounded in Christ?
Yeah, I would say if we're comparing someone who doesn't have a relationship with Jesus and someone who does, I think we should have a better grounding of that. As Christians, absolutely. But yes, I would say the answer is, I think I would be less susceptible to that than someone who isn't.
And you specifically coach Christian men. Yeah, Christian entrepreneurs. Okay. And I think that this identity is huge. And I can tell you, I've struggled with it from time to time. I'm probably struggling with it some right now. It can hold such a tight hold of us because we feel like people know us for this. It's what we do. It's our habits. But I do agree it's pivotal to have your sufficiency found in Christ first, because otherwise everything comes crumbling down. Right? when you suddenly can't play hockey or do whatever you were doing and you get hurt, you don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I started a new hobby, as everyone does in their mid-30s. You either start marathons, you do jiu-jitsu, or cycle, or whatever it is. So I chose jiu-jitsu. That was my path. And I've been doing it for 8 months, and I got injured a couple weeks ago. And what I've seen in my life is that there's almost tests that showcase how you've been growing as a Christian. And when I got hurt, I had a moment where I felt pretty bummed out. And I still get days where I'm bummed out because I can't do this thing that I was enjoying. But comparatively to before, where I had injured my back and I wasn't able to exercise, like that, I was pretty distraught. I was really bummed out. And now I'm bummed out, but it's more of a source of enjoyment than a piece of my identity, right? If I can't do this thing anymore. And that's the question I ask people I work with, and I ask myself, if I have this thing or I don't have this thing, am I still going to be me? Because if I can't answer yes, that means I've attached some part of my identity to that thing because I'm reliant on it to be who I am in character. And I think that's the really big litmus test to see if, hey, am I attached to something for my identity?
That's good. That's good. So my short story is I started running a few years ago. I was the marathon guy. And took to it. I started going longer, and I never identified as a runner before I was 40, but suddenly I was a runner. But last year I got plantar fasciitis, and it was good. It was really good, Matt, because there was a 5K coming up that my wife and I helped direct, and I was going to run it. and I honestly felt like the Balaam's donkey, the story in the Bible. Balaam goes to prophesy, and the donkey ends up talking to him and being like, hey, don't do it. But I went out to run, and like I was on the fence wrestling with God about my running, my identity as a runner. And I went out to run, and I just felt like God just put his thumb on the bottom of my heel. And I was like, nope. But it was really good. I had to step back from it. I had to reevaluate it. I had to course correct what you talk about with my identity being wrapped to that, and just acknowledge that God was sovereign and I was not, and he had a plan, and there was other things for me to do. So it's good.
And I think that's an indicator, right? And like I mentioned that one test, but if something threatens that thing that could have started becoming something you're addicted to, a part of your identity, how do you treat people around you? Because I was exposed to that. Again, my wife is healed and she's fantastic, but we were exposed to that when she was going through what she went through, because we couldn't even take a day off without it causing a visceral physical response. And
a day out off of working out?
Off of working out. And if we start to think of these things, because the devil can't create anything, right? He can only deceive and destroy.
Manipulate.
So everything good is from God. So we are meant to enjoy them. We're meant to exercise. We're meant to pursue excellence in everything we do. But a good thing can become an ultimate thing. And that's when if this epiphany happened I guess it would be a year ago, like the first commandment is have no other lords before me, or no other gods before me. Yeah. And I initially always just thought of that as like a golden calf. Obviously, I don't have a golden calf. I'm not worshiping a golden calf. But that signifies something they're trying to find. The Israelites, they're trying to find in this object that they should be finding in God. Right? It's not the gold. The gold is not the sin. The money is not the sin. It's the love of it. It's the using it to find your meaning and hope. So going back to all this then is, if you become defensive about missing something, losing something, not having something, and that's focused towards people who are made in God's image, then you probably have a problem. And I know people won't like that, but you definitely have a problem, because you're sacrificing, because whenever you have a God in your life, you're going to worship it. And you sacrifice to that. So if you can't, as an example, like you said, if you can't miss a run and spend time with your family or kids, you probably have an idol. If I couldn't stop working out, even though I injured my back, which I didn't do, and injured my hip, I probably had an idol. So it's just this whole thought process has been really cool to me to just think, oh, I am vulnerable to this.
Yes.
Because we're supposed to enjoy these good things, but if it becomes an ultimate thing, that's when you're in danger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think circling back to this, it's because our identity becomes wrapped up in that. And that's who we are. And that's how people know us. So heaven forbid I miss a run because one of my Strava friends might notice.
Yep.
So yeah, that's good stuff. You got your start in your backyard. Went from backyard. Yeah. Talk to me about that. Did you start the gym there, or did you just start working out there?
For the gym? Yeah. So my wife and I, we were married for a year and we moved back to our hometown, and we had this 1,000 square foot house we were renting from someone. And in the backyard, there was a 300 square foot garage, uninsulated. And my mom and my aunt started working out in my backyard, and I was coaching. So that would have been the genesis of what is now Greater Purpose Health and Fitness. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, I hurt my back injuring because I was doing it too much. And I hurt my back working out. I was working out too much. And then I decided I wanted to leave doing trades work. I was doing carpentry at the time, previously electrical work. And I decided, hey, I'm going to become a personal trainer. So I became a personal trainer, got my certificate, was making a whopping $1,000 a month on a good month. My wife was super supportive in that. And eventually I partnered up with, her name's Deanna. She founded the gym with me. We moved into her garage gym, 400 square feet. I'm tall and I couldn't work out overhead in there. I had to work out outside. Then we expanded it into 3,000 square feet. Then all in all, 10,000 square feet is the biggest we got to. And that was 2012 we started.
That's cool. Talk to me about the name Greater Purpose. Why not call it something like, I don't know, Best Gym Ever?
Joe's Gym.
Yeah. Matt's Gym.
Yeah, it's not blatantly a Christian name. I don't think we have to make it the Christian gym. But I still wanted to use it as an opportunity to create conversations. So when I have conversations with people, Christians will say, yeah, I love the name. I appreciate the name. Because obviously that points to, hey, there's a greater purpose than just working out. Like there's a greater purpose beyond our physical bodies, and that the best thing we can have is a relationship with God. There's also a greater purpose to exercising. So it's not just for my soul needs, but so that I can become a better father, be more energetic for my kid. I can be a better spouse, all these things, like stewarding these things. So there's a greater purpose to your actions in and outside the gym, other than just getting jacked and ripped.
Sure. What happens, to follow up on that, what happens, Matt, when fitness has no purpose, no meaning? Because there's that too, right?
Go ahead. Yeah. So do you mean, go ahead.
Yeah, what I mean is I guess my question is, with Greater Purpose, health and fitness, it's obvious a lot there. Do you think that somebody can work out without having purpose?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do.
Or maybe the wrong purpose, huh?
Yeah, so this actually goes back to 2018 for me. I was doing what I called purpose coaching for men, both Christians and non-Christians. And I wanted them to help them live with more purpose. And as a byproduct, hey, let's find your why of why you work out. You work out to be a better father, to be a better spouse, to have more energy for your business. And I could help people do that. But there reached a point where I couldn't help them find ultimate purpose without a relationship with Jesus. And I wasn't going to sell that as a service. I'm not going to sell the gospel as a service. I'm happy to have conversations. in your question then is absolutely, I think you can have purpose. You can still have a happy marriage. You can still be in great physical shape. You can still work out consistently. But the ultimate meaning behind it isn't going to be there. So why does it then matter that I work out? Right? If I don't have that ultimate purpose, I'm just chasing after the wind of sorts, right? I'm just chasing the next milestone, chasing the next achievement, trying to get the next high to prove my significance and value as a person, instead of having my hope and identity in Jesus and knowing that, hey, if I'm super fit, great. It doesn't actually change my relationship status with God or change my significance as a person unless I measure it through the world's eyes. But again, that is a very dangerous road to walk around. If I start basing my identity and significance and value on the perception of people around me, even online, then I'm walking down a slippery slope. Because then what happens if I lose my Instagram account tomorrow? Who am I? I've built this thing up to prove my significance and value. But if I lose my if I'm rooted in Christ and I lose that tomorrow, I know I'm still loved. I'm still secure. My salvation's still secure.
That's good. So how do you help men connect training to purpose?
I look at it almost in two categories: micro purpose and macro purpose. So the macro purpose is for us to be in relationship with God and share the gospel and make more disciples. But in a micro sense, Viktor Frankl actually wrote a good book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he talks about, and that's actually what my program, Man on a Mission, is based on a certificate I have through Donald Miller, Hero on a Mission. And he based his Hero on a Mission on Viktor Frankl's work, basically finding purpose in the day-to-day actions. So having the purpose to do the small things every single day and building out a trajectory of what your life will look like at your funeral. And it may sound morbid, but actually writing out your eulogy statement to say, how did I take care of my health? How did I take care of my business? How did I take care of my relationships? How did I take care of my faith, my walk with the Lord? And that gives you intention and purpose in the day-to-day. Because I don't want to make someone a liar. I'm not perfect, but it gives me more intention to wake up and say, I'm going to take action on all these important things, because if someone was truthful at my funeral and saying exactly who I was and how I acted and how I impacted people, would I like what they're going to say based on how I live today, based on how I live tomorrow? So that's how I see us having more purpose in the day-to-day, because it is a really difficult thing to attach yourself to, because especially in our day and age, there's so much convenience and comfort, and everything's engineered to keep you addicted. Our phones, dopamine, right? So the whole earn your dopamine mentality. So then how do you extract yourself from that and make the purposeful deposits that are going to equate to a better future, a more meaningful, thriving future, instead of just falling into the trap of this instant gratification that we have the inability to often look forward to say, this is actually going to make me sick, or this is going to hurt my marriage. This is going to hurt my fitness. This is going to hurt my business.
That's good. No, I'm all about that. Is there a word you could say that you would like to see in your obituary statement at some point?
I think consistent. And I think the reason I like that is because I think consistency stems from identity. So can you be consistent in character and action regardless of the circumstances you're going through? Because we're not going to go through life without challenges. And I'm not saying perfection, but I'm saying consistency. Can you have a consistent demeanor? You have you have control of your emotions, and then as a byproduct, control of your actions, even when times are challenging or when times are good. Because I see opposite ends of the spectrum. People sink into comfort when times are going and they stop investing in their disciplines. Yeah. Or when times are tough, a lot of people will quit, or their whole demeanor changes because they haven't found their security and hope in their identity in Christ. And I think that's why I would say consistency would be a word I would like to see in there.
A word I've often thought about is intentional, which is very similar, but just making sure that everything I do in life is intentional. We're not just drifting. We're doing it for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree.
And I think you hinted about it just now, people get to a success and they stall out there a lot of times and they lack consistency. They lean into comfort. I see this with entrepreneur men. It's going to be my next hobby horse, I think, but I think Christian men should lean into entrepreneurship, building businesses, but not to buy a boat, not to buy a watch, not to buy the art, but to further the kingdom and continue to live like you are, but have a kingdom-minded mindset, because I think God would bless that. And if you're used to giving 10%, try to give 50%, try to give 80%. What the world look like if Christian men didn't plateau in their businesses, but continue to grow like they did at the beginning. So
I think that's fantastic. And that's one of my personal missions is to help build up God-fearing Christian leaders in the marketplace so that they can give generously of their time, money, and energy. Yeah. I think, let's say the mean of all the entrepreneurs, you're going to have really corrupt, not good entrepreneurs.
Yes.
That if you build up these good stewards of their time, money, and energy, who understand business, who have the wisdom to grow and then support people who are the feet, give money generously to fight human trafficking, to go against all these injustices. Like, we need people to make money. Well, like you said, what would that look like?
Too. Yes.
Yeah, good people who are surrendering to God and obedient to God. Again, not perfect, but obedient. And what would that look like if we could build that up? That's my bigger mission and goal through what I do.
That's good. I hope to stay in touch with you then.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's do it. Good stuff. Because I see it with men, either they build their business just enough to get by with their family and they never grow, even though they have a great product, a great workspace, and a great influence. But in my opinion, they're selfish. Like, they're just doing the minimum. It's like the guy that just runs a mile every day to say he ran. And then I see these other guys who are successful, but they're successful so they can go on long vacations and buy the boat. And it's all about themselves. And I'm thinking, man, you could write a really big check if your living standards didn't change.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This could be a little bit of a rabbit hole, but instead of creating revenue goals, I think entrepreneurs should create lifestyle goals. How do you want to give? How much, like, how generously do you want to give? Be generous to that. How do you want to live with your family? Where do you want to live? How many vacations do you want to go in a year? That is not an escape from your life, but is just adventuring, experiencing God's creation. And then based on that, how much does your business actually need to make so that you have the amount of money that supports that lifestyle? And then anything above that is just icing on the cake. And if you create a business around that, and also at the same time create the business around your God-given gifts and talents, so you never want to retire from it. So the vehicle of business growth is not the actual outcome of achieving a certain arbitrary number someone on the internet told you to achieve, 1 million, $10 million, whatever it is. It's that you're investing your time, money, energy, gifts, and talents to serve people well. And you're going to be really good at that. And eventually you're going to make a lot of money from that, but you're not dependent on the money. So everything beyond what do you want to live in terms of your lifestyle, not an escapism type lifestyle, but beyond that is just, give it, invest it, and reallocate to other things. And that, I absolutely agree with that.
That's good. Circling back to, and I guess it's in line with this, but choosing hard things. I know you as the earner of dopamine, right? And I know you love, I don't know if you love ice baths, but you do ice baths.
Oh, I don't love it.
Talk to us, Matt, about choosing to do hard things and what that does to you.
So I started cold exposure because I burnt out as an entrepreneur way back when. And I developed a health condition that I did some research and I figured out that cold exposure could help lower my systemic inflammation. And with time, I continued to do it. And then I felt like I had ideas to share. I felt like I could add some value to people. And I would post to Instagram, but nothing would get traction. I'd be safe. I'd just post like a text bubble, whatever else it is, and it would not stand out in any way, shape, or form. And I had this thought, why don't I record a video of a wisdom or a thought that I had and sitting in my ice tub? A, that's going to get attention. And B, it's going to get me outside my comfort zone of actually sharing. Because I would definitely have been, like before I started this, afraid of judgment, afraid of people would think of me.
People's
So
opinion.
I committed to posting daily. It didn't have to be in the ice bath necessarily, but I committed to posting daily on Instagram. At the time, I think I had 400 followers and a couple hundred posts. I just kept posting. I kept posting. And with time, I was able to control my response. I was able to understand storytelling a little bit better, to condense my videos down, to understand how to capture people's attention, because you have to capture attention if you have something of value to share, because it's the whole algorithm's built around attention. So that's how it started. And along the way, like the byproduct of what it would have been like, I'm not saying I don't care at all what people think, but I care a lot less just from the practice of the exposure of that and getting better at storytelling. And just for me personally, the benefits mentally, physically, there's been a lot of that in my life.
How many years have you done ice baths?
I think it's 6 or 7.
Okay. And how often?
Yeah, 6 or 7. I was doing it daily for a large amount of years. And then now I probably do it 3 to 4 times a week. And the reason I only do it 3 to 4 times a week is I know it can mitigate hypertrophy and muscle growth and strength gains in the gym too close. So I want to make sure that I'm being intentional, that and where I do it and how much I do it. And another reason I'm doing it less too, that I continue to do it, is when I was doing it consistently, I only got sick once in 6 years. And as an entrepreneur, as a dad, we don't really have the luxury of being sick. So I think that's a big reason I continue to do it still as well.
And we talked before the show, you said the coldest you've done it in Fahrenheit is 59. I just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways in which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.